Hello, gorgeous people. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, a wonderful Father's Day. Did you have a nice Father's Day, Zach?
I did. It was also my birthday, so I got to celebrate with my
Ooh.
family.
Did you party hardy?
Yeah, I had a few extra drinks that I probably shouldn't have, but I enjoyed myself.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, happy birthday, sweetie. I didn't know. That's
Thank
great.
you.
Well, happy Father's Day to all the parents that were out there because it varies from country to country. So, yeah. Well, 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 well. Well.
Well.
So, where are we now, Zach, about Blake No Teeth Lively?
So I guess the biggest bit of news is that the judge has dismissed Justin Baldoni's defamation claims in the lawsuit. And so she's kind of been going on her, as Brian Friedman called it, her faux victory tour, because she's like, I won. You know, I don't know, she saved democracy or something. And so she is celebrating this win, which Friedman says, yes, they're disappointed in the defamation claims getting dismissed. She didn't get it dismissed because the judge believes her or believes that Baldoni's in the wrong or that he's guilty. It was basically a technicality because the alleged defamation that she said about Baldoni was under its protected speech because it was filed in a civil complaint. So if you put it in a civil complaint, you can't be sued for defamation for it, even though she leaked it to the New York Times and gave them all the text messages. Because she didn't make those statements anywhere outside of her CRD complaint, she technically is protected and she cannot be sued for defamation.
Did she drop her claims, her accusations altogether, her essay?
She has not accused him of SA, it's SH.
Essay, sorry.
Harassment versus assault. But she's dropped, and it was confirmed this morning, she's dropped with prejudice her claims of emotional distress. So, which were kind of like the important ones in terms of her proving damages, because she was saying, I was so emotionally distressed based off of Justin Baldoni telling me that my character looked sexy, which was her claims are just so preposterous when you really look into them individually. But so she has withdrawn her claims for emotional distress, both intentional and negligent. Those were approved and confirmed this morning, and she withdrew them with prejudice. So originally she wanted to withdraw them without prejudice, which would basically mean she could bring them up later on down the line. She can be like, oh, I changed my mind. Now I do still want to sue him for emotional distress. She can't do that now. They've been completely dismissed with prejudice. But she's
Okay.
still suing him for harassment, and she's still suing him for retaliation. He can pursue, I think there are some, mainly like on the extortion side, because he was trying to say that she extorted him by trying to hijack the movie, her and Ryan Reynolds. There's like some contract interference claims that Wayfair can move forward with, and then there's like the extortion claims that they can try to pursue. So we'll see. The war is far from over. They both say that they plan to take this to trial. She says she's going all the way because she's standing up for all the women of the world.
I am very confused about something, and I'm sorry if I sound very stupid about this. But if the lawsuit is in New York, why does the California statute apply?
So we don't know if it applies yet.
No, but they said that the one that was dismissed, the defamation thing was dismissed in New York, right?
Yes, so it's a federal case that's taking place out of New York. So being that it is a federal case, that means that there were multiple locations involved. The primary residents of the allegations were in New Jersey and New York. But the
So
defamation was dismissed based off of the CRD complaint, which
no,
was
I
originally
get
filed
I
in
get that,
California.
but why would a California, if it's been tried in New York, which is what happened with, for example, with Johnny Depp, because the defamation case was a civil case, right?
Yes.
And Johnny Depp held his where was it? Was it Washington or Virginia or Norfolk? Where was it that he held it?
I think it was Virginia.
Yeah. So and the reason they held the trial there was for because the Washington Post was from there, right? Or something like that. The op-ed is where it's based,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, you can file either where you reside or where, the defamation happened, or whatever the civil complaint is, wherever it happened.
Yeah, but shouldn't the laws or where the trial is apply? Because then you can say, oh, well, in Ohio, it doesn't apply. You know what I mean? Why would they use a law from California if the trial was being held in New York? That's the
They
thing
didn't.
I'm
Well,
confused
they
about.
they didn't use a law in California. The defamation statute is, or it's a federal. You can't be sued for defamation if it's under protected speech in a civil complaint, regardless of where it's filed. It's
Oh, it's federal. It's not in California because I thought it was Gavin Newsom who signed that.
The lawsuit is in. Well, I think you're thinking of 47.1,
That's
which
the
is
one. That's the one. That's
yes.
the one.
That hasn't come into factor yet. That may come into factor come trial, but right now the judge has to determine jurisdiction because each of the claims, being that it is a federal case, some arguments are being made for some claims to be applied with California law, and others are being argued to have New York law apply. So as of right now, that's a jurisdiction issue that the judge hasn't ruled on whether or not which laws will apply when it comes to trial. But 47.1, that's like the Me Too law that's here in California that she's trying to fight for. So even though that's something that she's trying to argue now, that's not something that'll be relevant until we're actually at trial if the judge leans with California law.
Oh, by the way, guys, I want to announce something because if you're going to be in Toronto on July 24th, please, I will leave the link for you. Send me an email because we're going to be giving away two tickets, two meet and greet tickets to meet Zack at Annabelle's on July 24th, and one VIP so you can hang around with Zack, and buy drinks and everything. So we have a sponsor for that. So I will leave you in the video description, but I'll put just the email address that I have, which is I'll do it right, put it right here, so you can write, and we're gonna give you two tickets, two meet and greet tickets. To see Zack on the 24th of July in Toronto. And also, let me see if I have the right one. Yeah. And you can write me to that email and I will send you, you have to give me your name because the tickets, they have to have your names on it, right? So please write, so three people will get three of those tickets, and it's going to be awesome, so I can't wait to really meet you. It's going to be so much fun. And Annabelle's is a lot of fun. So yes, yes, yes. So what's happening right now with Taylor Swift? Because I saw some allegations. We're going to talk about Diddy and we're going to talk about Meghan, because this woman, I have a world exclusive interview on Sunday that's going to blow everybody away, guys.
Ooh.
And it's a duchess.
Mm.
So yeah, I have to really edit that really well that I'm making that announcement. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm nervous, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. But
Fun.
I wanna. Oh, thank you, Gemini. Please go subscribe to Zack's channel. Of course, he's over 100 now. So great for you. You have fantastic um videos, and I love it. Like Mormon wives tell all. That's a funny one. I saw that one. I'm sorry, I'm still laughing. So, so please go watch it because they are amazing. And you're talk about everything. I mean, it's really really good. I love it. So please go check out his channel. Do subscribe. So this wonderful, good looking man, because we love good looking people. Love. So go subscribe to his channel. Buy his merch. I'm waiting for my T-shirt. That it's arrived. They're supposed to deliver it today. I wanted to have it on today,
Yay.
but it arrives. I think they're gonna bring it after midday. So I wanted to have it early in the morning to do the live with you. Yes, yes. So what's happening with Blake? Because I heard something about the messages. What the hell is going on now with those things?
Yes. So Blake is trying to so Taylor Swift, obviously we've been wondering, are there text messages going to come out? Are there text messages going to be revealed? We heard that Blake was trying to extort Taylor by threatening to release the messages. And so now it seems like her team is fighting to protect Taylor Swift's text messages from being pulled into this. And so they want to flex more third-party protections and say that, Wayfair can't pull in the text messages. They're irrelevant. Like they're trying to get that squashed altogether. I think they're trying to get that squashed because they don't want Brian Friedman to argue that Blake was threatening to release the text messages um, against Taylor Swift. So I think she's trying to block them from basically saying that she tried to extort Taylor Swift. Obviously, we know that Brian Friedman made those allegations, but they haven't become relevant in court or relevant in this case just yet.
But wouldn't that be up to Taylor Swift if she wants to allow that to be in? Because from what I understand, it was from Taylor Swift camp that they got them, right?
Well, the arguments that Blake and her team are trying to make is that the text messages are irrelevant, so there's no need for them. They don't apply to anything. Taylor Swift she wasn't part of the movie. Like, they're trying to argue that the text messages aren't relevant. And so that's why they're fighting to protect them.
Well, okay, I'm very confused because if Taylor Swift was being blackmailed from what was told or what's his name Brian Friedman said, clearly that is illegal, that they're asking to delete what could be possible evidence when they know it's in an ongoing case. That is a crime. That is destroying evidence,
Yeah,
even if
or
it's
it
in a civil
yeah,
crime.
or at least
Sorry, in a
it's
civil.
conspiracy to destroy evidence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that is a crime.
No, I agree, but it depends on if that evidence is relevant to the case. Because I mean, she can just text Taylor and say, "Oh, can you delete the selfie we took 2 weeks ago?" And if the selfie's not relevant to the case, then it doesn't matter if she told her to delete something, because technically it wouldn't be relevant to the ongoing case that's happening right now. So she's trying to argue that the text messages are irrelevant and have nothing to do with this case, that Taylor has nothing to do with this case. So we'll see if
So,
the judge grants that.
but I assume that Brian Friedman has, I gotta say, I know that Brian Friedman is a kick-ass lawyer and stuff, but I'm a little bit disappointed that all this info that we found out. I had Ashley here, and we were talking about it, and she's saying that from a PR point of view, it wouldn't be great if the judges did, if Brian Friedman requests that the judgment from Judge Lyman be overturned because of the. I mean, how many links does he have now to Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, T-Mobile, the brother? I mean, he could very well ask for the case just to cause, I don't know, pain, even if it later dismisses it. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of people have theories and they're linking the judge. I mean, I don't, and I said this on my show today too. I think we have to be really careful with spreading those theories because I've seen people get really out of hand with them, especially like on Reddit. And the really dangerous part about pushing that, because now people are like trying to put together petitions to have the judge removed. And the dangerous part with that, though, is right now Blake's trying to argue that there's this social media campaign that's out to take her down. And listen, if it were Meghan Markle, we can hate on Meghan Markle all day. But with Blake Lively, she's actively fighting this in court. And all of us, we're being watched by the courts as well. So our behavior, if we do start to influence this case in some way, like some people are even contacting the judge's brother and sending him harassing messages. All of that is fuel that Blake can use to say, see, look at these people are vigilantes. They're doing this in support of Justin Baldoni, and the smear campaign is still going on. And she can pull all of our content, use that in court to prove that there's an active smear campaign going on. And should they be able to prove that to a jury, that can totally fumble the ball for Justin. So I think we have to be really careful with these conspiracy theories. From what I've heard, the judge's connections, his brother worked with Blake many years ago. I mean, listen, you and I work with people 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. It doesn't mean we still have connections with them today. Sometimes we have colleagues that we work with, very briefly, but it doesn't mean that the connection's necessarily that deep. And then two, they're saying that he has financial interests in Ryan Reynolds because I believe Judge Lyman had invested in T-Mobile. T-Mobile ended up buying Mint Mobile. And so they're saying, oh, well, he profits off of, anything that comes in from Mint Mobile. But my understanding of Mint Mobile and Ryan Reynolds' relationship now is Reynolds is more of just kind of like the face of Mint Mobile, but he no longer he originally was one of the investors in Mint Mobile, but I believe it was sold to T-Mobile. So I don't think that there's much that I don't know if he's still necessarily profiting off of the sales of Mint Mobile or if maybe they're just paying him to be the spokesperson of Mint Mobile. But I believe Ryan Reynolds was paid out when T-Mobile came in and purchased Mint Mobile. So it's unclear what the exact financial tie is. And again, these are things that we don't know because we don't know what these contracts look like behind closed doors. So I think we just have to be mindful of not putting that information out there or getting the internet all fired up because again, that can blow up in Justin's face because Blake can then prove, look at people are acting like vigilantes, they're attacking people that are close to me, and I think it's Reddit and some of the people I think are well intentioned in wanting to stand up for Justin Baldoni, but also don't realize they're actually helping Blake Lively.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, people can help. I mean, it's very much a sleuth who found out about that the picture had been uploaded, much earlier, and that the things weren't planned. I mean,
Right.
they can't stop people from investigating because, according to, I mean, from what we know and what is out in the public domain, is that one of his cases was overturned because his wife has ties, and according to New
Yeah.
York law, it's very strict. It is
Yeah.
very strict. If you have any, and from what I understand, Ryan still, even if it's a spokesperson, but he still was once an investor and he's still involved with that company, he should have disclosed that from the beginning
Well,
to
we don't know that
the
he did
lawyers.
it. We don't know
Okay.
that he didn't. They could have disclosed that up front. I mean, because you're right. He does have to disclose those things. We don't know what conversations the judge had with Brian Friedman because Brian Friedman hasn't really brought any of this up. And obviously, I'm sure
Because
he's
maybe he
seen this
didn't
online
know.
as well.
Maybe he didn't know, because just
Maybe
like
he
he didn't
didn't, but it's
know.
up to him. But I'm saying we have to be careful because it's up to him to be able to make that case in court. Because there's a difference between investigating and then putting out conspiracy theories. If we put out conspiracy theories that don't have merit to them, like just a couple of weeks ago, there was there was a website, an organization called givelively.org, and people thought that the organization was Blake Lively's organization. And then I dug into it and I looked up the board of directors. I looked at the original founders and found out that there are absolutely no ties with the Give Lively Foundation to Blake Lively, her family, her mom, her parents. There were no ties there, but people believed that there were, and then they were putting that story out there. And it was and somebody was well intentioned in trying to dig up that information, investigating it. And you're right, we do have a right to investigate these things, but we just have to be careful and remember that our actions and the content that we put out can influence this case. And sometimes we've seen it influence cases in a positive way where we're able to help seek justice because we find information like the Van Zandt lawsuit. That
Yeah.
was that was digging from a reporter at the Daily Mail who looked at the subpoena, saw Van Zandt, went down that rabbit hole, and then was like a light bulb for Brian Friedman and his team.
Yeah,
Those
that's
things
the
where you
thing.
can clearly trace it, I think are good.
Yeah, the thing is that Blake is being so shady, and I'm surprised because, for example, if you're a top-notch lawyer, you would want every advantage for your client. So the fact that a judge has investments, I would say, I'm sorry, Your Honor, you yourself should have recused yourself automatically without having to put me in that position. You know what I mean?
Well, again, we
Uh,
don't know what conversations they had behind closed doors. He could, I mean, typically as the judge, you do have to disclose any potential ties, and then both counsels have to agree whether or not they want to move forward or activate for another judge. Also, at the same time, Brian Friedman could be building a case against the judge as a potential contingency down the line and say, listen, judge, you have these ties. These are judgments that you ruled. I mean, if he wants to get the judge removed, he has to prove that there is bias. And so he can take the history and then show here's a history of 5 different judgments that you've made against my client that now it appears you are biased. Like he has to build that case.
yeah. But just
But
just understanding on the law that the judge, let's say the judge didn't disclose it. And let's say now we found out that he had an investment in T-Mobile and that by law he should have disclosed it. And that would be grounds enough for
for a
Brian Friedman
dismissal
to
of
go
the
and say,
judge.
well,
Yeah.
you know what? He knew, because ignorance is not a legal defense, especially coming from a
Yeah.
judge. So if and this is, listen, what I'm saying is, if he didn't disclose it, because I'm surprised that this is coming just that now, because this you would think would have come out almost immediately. You know what I
Well,
mean?
to
And
the
people were
public,
saying,
but
people
that's
were
to the
saying,
public. We're leaning heavily on if this happened or if
yeah,
this didn't
that's what
happen,
I'm saying. If
but we
if
don't
if
know. And these conversations could have, by the same if logic, this same conversation could have been had up front. Brian Friedman may have agreed to this, he may have known this, and they may have decided to move forward with it. or not, but it may have already been a conversation that they've already had and that all parties were fine with. And again, that won't come out in court. That would be something that this we're only now the internet is now investigating these things, and that's why
Yeah.
we're seeing that. But this could have been a conversation at the start of the case, but
The
we don't
internet
know.
is a bitch too. Now, this is I was talking yesterday in my life, with that the internet is the bitch for everybody, like these
It can be
crooked
good and bad,
politicians.
right?
Yeah, no, I'm serious. It's like these crooked politicians or royals or
Yeah,
whatever,
exposing
it's
people.
like
Yeah,
anybody with a computer, even an old lady like me, 56, I go in and I check and I find stuff.
yeah.
And it's actually quite shocking the things you find. And this is why, to me, when I was live with Ashley, I was like, how how can this lawyer not know about Van Zam? And a reporter did that. Don't they have like detectives and stuff like that? Because everybody was wondering about that.
Well, so
How
what
did they get
happened
that
with that?
subpoena? When that
Yeah,
subpoena thing came out, it's like,
that's the crazy part. So this is how Friedman didn't know about it, is because Blake Lively's team wouldn't give Brian Friedman the subpoena. They were concealing it because they were saying you have to fight for it in discovery. And so that's how you get evidence, is you have to subpoena, and but if you don't know what you're looking for, you're kind of just like fishing to find stuff. But so where Blake Lively's team messed up is they gave the subpoena to the press, and they said, "Here, we're going to show you that the subpoena exists and it's real. You can't publish the subpoena, though." So they didn't want the subpoena published publicly, but they at least gave it to the press to verify that there was a subpoena and the subpoena is real.
in order for
Now,
them to publish the article.
yeah, so that they can at least write the article and say, "We saw the subpoena. We're not allowed to publish it, but we saw it and we can verify that the subpoena is real." Now, that same reporter looked at the subpoena,
I
found
love
the
this. I
Van
love this.
Zandt
It's like a
name,
soap
and then
opera.
he was like, yeah, because they were told they can't publish the subpoena, but they didn't say they couldn't disclose the contents of what was in the subpoena. They just couldn't publish the subpoena themselves. But so that's how Brian Friedman's team didn't know anything about it, because they don't have the subpoena. Blake Lively won't give them the subpoena. She's making them fight for it in discovery, and she's fighting everything tooth and nail. So they thought that
So,
they were going to be able to keep that under the rug and not have to bring that out.
so with what Justin Baldoni has remaining, can he still ask for that subpoena? Because
Yes.
he has four
So,
remaining claims.
yeah, it's really hard. So, yes and no. So with his case against her, and this is just kind of the unfortunate place that we're in now, I don't think he has the strongest, like in terms of winning damages, like the 400 million, I think he could win a lot of damages for the defamation case. But now the defamation case has been thrown out. So the remaining claims aren't as strong. I mean, again, they're more like sort of more of extortion claims that he can fight her on. But I think the real win, and where all this evidence is going to be relevant, is not in his lawsuit against her, but in her lawsuit against him, because he still has to defend her harassment lawsuit against him. So that's where he can then say, "Look, at here's the malice, here's all the shady things she was doing behind the scenes. This isn't, the character of somebody that was genuinely harassed. This is the character of somebody that was trying to trying to bring forth false allegations to ruin the man's reputation." So all of that evidence in the Van Zandt lawsuit, I think, will become relevant in their defense against Blake Lively's harassment case.
Ashley was telling me because she's a PR expert for 25 years, right? She's Canadian. And then she was telling me that if Brian Friedman were to appeal, find ground, let's say if he didn't know about the Lyman guy being connected somehow to
Mm.
what's his name, Ryan Reynolds. By the way, Ryan Reynolds is not a good representative of Canada, eh? So,
Are
so
you
I'm just
buying his Morton's breakfast?
fuck that. I'm spitting on that. But it's like disgusting. It is she was saying that it would be bad PR for both parties.
For
Like
which?
if Brent Friedman were to appeal and ask for the judgment to be revoked in case the judge never disclosed that information, he would have enough legal grounds to do that. But then it would be bad PR for Baldoni and Blake Lively. And I said to her, I disagree, because the one who has more to lose is Blake Lively keeping this going,
Yeah.
not Baldoni, because people, how people forget, like 24 hours. Guys, what I'm about to tell you, and we're going to talk about Meghan Markle, because I've been going through this because it's been driving me crazy. And this is the kind of person that, just like Blake Lively, they flaunt their lies. They
Yeah.
flaunt their lies. And it's amazing how the mainstream media literally, literally endorses that kind of behavior and encourages it.
Yeah.
And then they call us conspiracy theorists. There's no conspiracy. It's just
No.
valid questions.
Yeah.
People should remove the word conspiracy, because we're not conspiring to say something. We have legit questions about things. If it smells fishy, it is probably fishy.
Yeah.
So people have reasons to question. That's not a conspiracy, but it's like the COVID thing. And I've been coming because nobody mentioned that Harry and Meghan in that little video were not wearing masks. And I
Yeah.
called the hospital, and the hospital has been fielding. Yeah. And then they had me, the doctor called me back, and because I was like, and I don't know why journalists don't do this. Why can't you can call the hospital and ask the following questions, and I will leave the link of the phone number that you can call and say, how can it be possible that and I will leave the link to the YouTube instructions that they put during COVID, where mothers were saying that they had to give birth alone at that hospital because their husbands were not allowed in, not even for the consultations, not even for the doctor's visit.
Yeah.
Because it was during COVID. Everybody forgot that it was during COVID, right?
Yeah.
And then and all you have to do is call the hospital and say, because that would have meant that what we saw with Harry and Meghan in that little, whatever you want to call it, video twerking thing, they were breaking the COVID violations absolutely at the height.
Yeah.
By June 2021, there had been 16,755 cases of COVID, with I don't know how many thousand deaths, and mothers were getting COVID at the hospital. So this is why they were putting in them and getting them out. And they, if they didn't allow 12-hour labor. And I mean, I
Yeah.
even have Gail King. I even got an interview with Gail King when she's interviewing a mom, and she's like, what do you mean, David? Jamie Dornan, Hottie,
Mhm.
from 50 Shades of, what's it call it,
Great.
of Gray. Yeah, thank you. um he was um his father died, and he couldn't go to the funeral.
Yeah.
He was not allowed, and he was absolutely grief stricken because of COVID.
Yeah.
And then it's like, there's this lady here. Let me see if I don't know if you guys can hear it. Did I record her? In a few weeks, I jokingly asked several of my friends in a group text who's up for a Zoom party of me giving birth. Some hospitals are banning spouses, partners, and any other guests from being inside delivery, in postpartum rooms because of the coronavirus crisis. More than 300,000 people have signed a petition against that precaution. And she talks about her friend, and this woman. She says that here. You're gonna hear her what she says here. We just found out that my husband, as of now, can't be in the delivery room with me. Honestly, it felt like someone knocked the wind out of me. That is June 2nd, Santa Barbara,
Yeah.
2021. I mean, there's all these things, and then there's women saying they allowed him at the 20-week mark to come and find out the sex of the baby, but he had to be dressed like he was going to the
Yeah.
moon,
In like a hazmat suit. Yeah.
everything. And then we have Meghan Markle. Did you see the little dance? I'm sure you did, and I'm sure you
Yeah.
did that little video, right? You've seen it, right? And did you see that she gave an interview now, because she says, I don't know why she didn't reveal this thing. According to the doctor that spoke to me, she said and guaranteed to me that that video was not recorded in 2021. And they're finding legal venues to sue her, because a lot of angry parents have called the
Yeah.
hospital saying, how dare you? We were not allowed. I was alone in the room. I was a
Yeah.
first-time mom. I had to wear a mask because the COVID regulations of the hospital, I've shown them many times, I said that we had to wear masks at all
Yep.
times,
Yep.
you know?
And
And
they
and
were super strict about it, especially at that time.
And I've had moms. I mean, I had this lady, bless her soul, who gave birth at the what you call it, at the Santa Barbara, where Meghan Markle claims to have been giving birth. And let me see if I have the picture here, because her husband was allowed to come and get her. Okay. But he was not allowed to be in the delivery. He was not allowed to do anything. And at one point, they had what it's called the virtual visits,
Yeah.
because like you had your what you call it, the you couldn't be in the room at all. It was for the
Yeah.
safety of everybody. It was not only for the staff, or for the visitors, or for the patients. It was for the staff. And I've been shocked, because I didn't even know that some mothers had COVID, and they gave birth while having COVID. I didn't know that. I mean, because I wasn't in that I wasn't now I'm that rabbit hole looking at everything. So the hospital said that the lady is very angry. She says that they've been fielding the look, that's them at the hospital, at the same hospital. That's 3 days after Meghan Markle gave birth, and this lady was sent to be picked up. And it's like, how can they? This is not right. And in her, what you might call it, and if you scroll, because I'm sharing the image here, I can't scroll down, but she has the thing here on her wrist, not up here on the thing. And the first thing they would do is put them in the hospital gown.
Yeah. The
It's
two of them, I mean, everything with them is such a show and such a parade, and they try to act like they care, and they really it's I don't know, the two of
but
them
here,
really
and
are.
then that she's doing this podcast, right?
Yeah.
So here, listen to what she says, how she brags about it. And she's clapping back at the Vanity Fair. I knew, and I said it, guys. Remember what I said to you? There was no way this woman was going to let it stand at Vanity Fair where they accuse her of bullying, because now in this podcast, she's using it. Zach, I don't know how many times why didn't she disclose this video? I'm sure Netflix would have loved to have this little clip for Harry and Meghan
Yeah.
to show her true self. Didn't they say that now they got to see their true self with Oprah, their true self with Harry and Meghan? How many interviews they've given? How many podcasts has she done? And they're seeing her true self. And now she's coming on this. I don't even know who this woman is. So apparently, it's part of the Kardashian. Deep into the Kardashian, she's part of Skims and Good American.
Mhm.
So, and this is what they're saying. Let me see what she says here.
You have to be authentic.
Just be authentic. Did you see my baby mama dance?
I mean, stop it. First of all, can I just tell you the timing of that? We maybe watched it like 20 times yesterday. And I was like, is that her?
Oh my
Is
God.
that Prince Harry there with the fingers and the, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
Meghan and Harry.
But
kind of
also,
thing.
by the way, that wasn't yesterday.
No,
That was 4 years ago. So it's also a really great reminder that with all the noise or whatever people do, there's still a whole life, a real, authentic, fun life that's happening behind the scenes. I'm just grateful that now, being back on social as well, I have a place where I can share it on my
Yes.
own terms.
on your own terms.
I mean, she's always been on social media, because
Yeah.
I outed her account about 2.5 years ago. Nobody believed me. I said that's Megan, because Serena Williams is following her.
Yeah.
They made that stupid mistake. Serena Williams made this stupid mistake of following Megan. She had peonies, like this thing with peonies on it, right?
Yeah.
And I said, and I look, you can see who's following it, right? And then I see Serena Williams. Why is Serena Williams following this account? Kris Jenner and all these people. So
Yeah.
I outed her, and I'm like, no, 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 no. They probably think it's Megan. Why would Serena Williams, Kris Jenner, follow an account that they don't even know whether it's Megan or not? I mean, you know the Hollywood is. Would do you? These people are very careful who they follow. Tyler Perry still hasn't followed this woman, and Tyler Perry's the godfather to her child.
Yeah. Is he even active on social
Oh
media?
yeah, he is. He's posting stuff on, but he follows Diddy.
Okay.
He still hasn't unfollowed him. He's followed. I swear, I kid you not.
Oh my
He's
God.
following Diddy. Netflix doesn't follow whatchamacallit as ever.
Oh my God.
Everything is such a mess, with this person. And I wanted to ask you, because Megan said that it's the British people who are badly reacting to this. How are you Americans taking it? Do you think it's cute and adorable?
I don't think it's cute and adorable. No, I think I mean, everything that Meghan and Harry do kind of just makes me scoff and roll my eyes. I mean, listen, the video of them, like, sure, it's cute. I just found the timing of it to be strange, but like, I don't know. There are so many layers to them that I don't know, I kind of just roll my eyes with them and just try to ignore them. But they're like, even for somebody that wants privacy so badly, they don't seem to ever get away from us.
No, and the thing is, though, I was thinking, because she wants to elevate everything, right? That is not a real belly. Even if it wasn't Meghan Markle, it cover her face.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sorry, guys, that is not a real belly. And
So the
there's
belly looks strange, and I know people are like, "Oh, well, they have monitors on her." I don't know. The belly it doesn't look real. Like when you do slow it down, like it looks so light and like I don't know.
you're gonna see it, Zach, because it's like an accordion. Do you know how tight bellies are? Ask your mom. Ask your
Oh
mom how
yeah.
tight bellies are. Especially, she claims to have been 1 week overdue, and she's wearing all her jewelry, which is not a hospital regulation. Harry and her are wearing no mask, and that stupid woman doubles down that it was 4 years ago at the height of COVID. Okay, when they were supposed to be wearing masks and everything. Look, that is an accordion. That is not a belly.
Yeah, it looks like a fake belly. It does. I don't know what monitors might be on her that they were trying to say. Yeah, it looks like it
Zach, no, no,
it
no.
doesn't it doesn't look like a especially when you slow. I haven't seen it slowed down like this
There you
before.
go.
When you slow it down, like that doesn't look real at all.
Ask your mom. I'm sure your mom, if she had more than one child, I mean, she can tell you
Yeah.
there's no way she can do this. The belly's so tight, guys. The belly is so tight, and if you put the baby monitors, in the hospital, they said that they wouldn't allow this, and they're very, very
Yeah.
angry because they can't sue her, because you see in the post
Yep.
that she put on Instagram, she doesn't say, I'm at the Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital about to give birth to Lily. She said this also happened 4 years ago. So you see, she's very shady with her wording.
Yep. She's very particular with her wording so that she can. I mean, she did it in the Oprah interview, remember? Where she
Yeah.
didn't blatantly say that the royal family was racist, but she would like use words to kind of imply that and like allude to it. But then her and Harry can be like, well, we never actually said that. We didn't use those
Exactly.
words, but it's like, but you heavily implied it and people took it that way.
Well, yeah, because if she says this happened 4 years ago, and she's putting that fake thing, they're saying that they reenacted, and the hospital the hospital is telling the parents who are calling that they're going to sue the hospital, because they went through labor without their partners, at that very same time, and yet this woman is there without mask, because it's a central system ventilation, so it's not like the germs are going to stay in that room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and the parents are saying that they're going to sue, and the doctors, the hospital, the doctor that allowed them about 3.5 weeks ago to go in the room, never in a million years thought this would be it. And she's wearing high heels. The guy, the proper wise guy, which is another YouTuber, slowed it down, and we can see her wearing black high heels. It's like, but it's I don't know. I mean, what do you make of people like Blake Lively? I mean, do you think she's gonna also in Meghan Markle? I mean, the press, she's still getting. Why are they still getting platforms, Zach? This is the frustrating part from every viewer I get. You have no idea. Why aren't they not deplatformed? Why are they not canceled? Why is Justin Baldoni still canceled? Or the royal family, why are they still on the royal website and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, canceling, I think, comes down to whoever, is it a company that's canceling them? I mean, I think the internet clearly doesn't like them, but then we also have to understand the more we talk about them, the more we drive clicks. Like, look at her show, With Love Megan. Netflix gave her the show because, everyone talking about it is publicity for the show at the end of the day. They don't care if the numbers are good numbers or bad numbers. They just care that the numbers are there. So
But
I
the
think
numbers are not there. The numbers are not there. The number people, like Harry and Meghan, when the Nielsen's ratings came, not the Netflix, because Netflix hit it.
yeah,
There were
they don't
only
release the numbers.
325,000 households in the United States that saw episode 1 through 4.
Yeah.
And then that's nothing. And most of them were in California because that's their hardcore base. Where they
Yeah.
were huge was in the UK and
Yeah.
Commonwealth countries and India, I think it was. But it was just for the first and second episode. After that, people were so angry and it was so boring. Even
Yeah.
a friend of mine who was a fan of them, she had a hard time staying awake, or the things that they were saying. And it's unbelievable. But why? People ask me, why don't they, like, for example, now that we know so much about Blake Lively, why is the press still doing what they're doing?
I mean, I think it's a few things. I think one, they realize that like Blake and I mean, here's the thing, it's the hottest story right now. They're not gonna walk away from Blake and Ryan. I mean, Time Magazine and SNL, the reason they invited them is because it got everybody talking. Or even the argument about Megan's show on Netflix. Yes, the ratings bombed and people didn't watch after the first 2 episodes, but look at we're still talking about it. And it still brings Netflix, and that conversation is up. It's engagement regardless. It's still promotion for Netflix. It still gets people talking about the show, and I'm pretty sure the ratings are not going to be great for when the second batch comes out, but like it's still a conversation that people are having. It's still being memed. It's still all over TikTok. And that is social currency that a company like Netflix is going to lean into because it keeps them relevant. If they're blasted all over TikTok because people are making fun of her and making parody videos about the show, it still drives traffic back to Netflix, even if they're not watching Megan's show regardless. If anything, it was more of a PR campaign. And I think ultimately it was still successful because we're still talking about it. When it comes to Blake Lively, I think obviously Hollywood is a machine. It's like the Wizard of Oz. It's all smoke and mirrors. I think we're becoming savvy to it now. But like these publications know that any stories about Blake Lively are going to perform well. People are going to hate watch it. They're going to hate read it. They're going to click it. They're going to talk about it. Every new article, whether it's pro Blake or anti Blake, we're going to talk about it, whether we like the article or whether we don't like the article, which just continues to funnel traffic back to whoever's publishing the article. I think they also want to protect their relationship with Ryan Reynolds because he's still a big name as well, whether we like him or not. I think the Marvel fans are going to continue to go and show up to his movies. All the
Not
comic
me.
book people, for the most part, don't really care about celebrity gossip. They don't care about you as much as, that's disheartening because we are fighting for justice here. All
Yeah.
those everyone that gets dressed up and goes to Comic-Con doesn't care about Blake Lively. They don't even know about Blake Lively. They're still going to show up and watch Deadpool, whether it's Ryan Reynolds or not. This comes down to whether Disney wants to continue to make him Deadpool. But the reality is they still hold a lot of power in Hollywood. And the other thing too is I think in Hollywood, it's all very virtue signaling. So they want to protect Blake because she's the victim in this. Now, if you look at the case and you look at her allegations and if you actually read the documents and look at what's happening, she's not a victim in any of this, from my opinion. But the perception, like they have to protect the Me Too movement. They have to protect the optics of believing women. Like that's what they stood on for so long. So they have to protect that. And so they're going to continue to protect her until she completely gets obliterated the way Amber Heard was. And then Amber Heard had to move to Spain. They're not going to give up on Blake.
Isn't she back though? Isn't she back?
She's trying. I think she thinks if Blake succeeds, this will give her redemption for her, which we don't need that. We really don't need that at all. If
Oh
anybody
my
can say
God!
it.
But I think she wants to come back, and she gave her support to Blake Lively, didn't she?
Yeah.
Oh my,
Her and
oh
Harvey
my
Weinstein and
God! Oh, Harvey Weinstein, that can't be good, can it? Oh my God,
no.
that is just so disgusting, all of it, and it really
Yeah.
disheartens me because I was thinking about it, and it's like, is it just Hollywood, or do you think that they're enabled? People are so disheartened, Zach. And I said to people, you know what? Just keep at it. Just keep at
Yeah.
it because it'll be eventually. Now And I think the way we can support it is by not going to the movies or
Yeah.
anything like that. I'm not gonna watch Deadpool, guys, and I was a hardcore Deadpool person, but I do ask you to go watch Star Trek, and I'm waiting for the Star Trek movie. So
Well, we have to remember too, though, that like the press and Hollywood, it's all we've seen it be exposed now as the Wizard of Oz. He's not great and powerful. He just pretends to be. So the press and Hollywood pretend that they still hold all this power. They can hold up Blake and Ryan all they want, and we'll see that in Hollywood, but that doesn't mean that it's resonating with the average person. That doesn't mean like nobody's rushing to Target to go buy her hair care line. Nobody's rushing to go buy her drinks. Some people I'm sure still are, but they don't have the conversion with the public the way that Hollywood is making them out to be. And again, Hollywood has their own agenda. They're trying to protect Me Too. They're trying to show that they support women and believe all women.
isn't Me
They
Too
have their
dead?
own agenda.
Isn't Me Too dead? I am not a Me Too person, guys. And if you think I am, you're in the wrong channel. I am not a Me Too person.
If it's not dead, Blake's killing it fast.
And not only, I was thinking about that because people don't understand that there's also domestic violence against men, and it is harder for a man, especially if a man is big, to fight back against a woman when it's tiny. And I'm thinking of Jada.
Yeah.
Because you see, for example, if Will Smith just swats her whatever way, that black woman is going to claim abuse everywhere. You know what I mean? Even if it's defending himself. I mean, and people don't understand that it's like men with anorexia. That I used to have anorexia, and so and I remember I was part of a group. Eventually, I ended up, and there was a guy, and he was embarrassed because he was fighting it. But men do get anorexia. Men are abused, guys. And it's harder for them because they're supposed to be the man. And this is why I feel terrible for Justin Baldoni, because I have a son.
Yeah.
So can you imagine, Zack? Can you imagine that? I mean, if it happened, bless your soul, I hope it doesn't happen to you. But I just want to show you this little video here because this is the latest one for Father's Day that Meghan Markle posted. And I'm going to show you something, guys, because it's important that we call things out on this channel. This is supposed to be Lily. Pretty much everything here is from Netflix. Okay. And we're going to see different Archies here. So brace yourself. This is Augustus. This is Princess Eugenie's son. That's the same little boy that Princess Eugenie was playing at the beach. And we've seen that People magazine article. They still have it with Eugenie at the beach playing with her little boy. And they claim it's Meghan Markle and Archie. Just like they claim the little sous chef is Archie with Meghan Markle when it's Ashley Samantha Markle's daughter. But this is Augustus. This is not Harry with Archie. That's Eugenie. Okay. That's them there. I don't know whose kid that is. I don't know who that Lily, because they changed different colors, and we're going to see that's supposed to be Archie. This Lily is almost as tall as Archie. She's 3 years younger. And we saw the little clip on Disneyland, which is very, very small, that little girl. And this is supposed to be Archie with dark hair. And I'm going to show you, I think, is the real Archie. This is Netflix. This is a clip from Netflix. So all of that Meghan Markle put very late in the. This is Augustus, Eugenie's son. That's Augustus, Eugenie. This is Lily. Archie is wearing diapers. Look how big Lily is. I mean, I kid you not, guys. Look how big Lily is, because and this is not a conspiracy theory. Look how big Lily is. Look at her legs. She's almost as tall as her brother. And I mean, that is Archie. That little boy, I believe, is Archie, because there's a clip in Netflix, which I will play in the video, where Harry says, I see a lot of Meghan and Archie. And you can see Meghan really hates it because she looks down. And then I see a lot of the Spencer gene on Lily, the red hair, and the eyes blue. And Meghan goes, yes, she has blue eyes. But this little boy, guys, this little boy, I believe, is Archie. And that he's 1 year old there. I want you to keep that in mind, because I mean, I believe that little boy is Archie. There's nothing wrong. He's a gorgeous little boy with ethnic features, beautiful little boy. Unfortunately, that's him. And you know what? I gotta give it to Harry. He does a much better job at reading than Meghan when she posted that video reading that poor awkward little kid with that soiled diaper. Okay. He does that much. And it's really weird, Zach, how she doesn't show the other side of the couch.
Oh yeah.
Look at the angle, how she cuts the baby there.
Oh
Wouldn't you
yeah.
think that she would center it so Harry looks they both in the like properly centered?
Yeah, that's an interesting crop.
Because you see, like that's I don't know who the hell that is, but that's supposed to be Lily. There's a lot of Lily here. Clearly, the chosen one. That's supposed to be Lily. Both of them the same height, with Archie running to the beach. The wanker. You don't know what wanker means, but that's August. That's Eugenie's daughter, and that is Archie learning how to ride a bike, going downhill. Rather than put him on a level thing when you're learning how to ride a bike, you don't put a little boy who's learning how to ride a bike downhill because it gathers speed,
Yeah.
right? And you're going to see Lily. Look at how long her legs are. Look how long and tall this little girl is. And the thing is that it's just the lying. It's the blatant lying and it's like people get fed up. People are fed up of the lies. It's
Yeah.
like watching Blake Lively, you know how it feels. It's like when you go to a movie and the villain wins.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. This
Yeah.
is why I like Star Trek, because the Klingons always lose. No, well, not the Klingons. They're friends of ours. Sorry, the Klingons are, but before, you know what I mean? The villain always
Yeah.
loses. But in real life, we're watching the opposite, and it is so disheartening.
Yeah, I mean but we're not like we're on the way, right? We're not at the end yet. I mean, again, look at Johnny Depp. That took years. He had to be the bad guy for years before he
Oh,
was able to fight back.
baby.
So
Did you
sometimes
go? Did you ever go? Because I know because it was in Virginia. He
Yeah.
was not in LA. That was terrible what they did to him in England. And that stupid cow eating while deposing just to buy time. I was so angry. And then he was called a wife beater.
Yeah, and he had to take that for years before he was
Years.
able to prove his case, and so sometimes we just have to focus on the long game and focus on, where we're going. Right now we're going to trial in March, and we'll hopefully be able to fight Blake Lively. I mean, she may have gotten a small win last week, but I don't think, there's still a much bigger battle down the line.
And can you tell me just quickly before you go, who's her new posse? Who's her new squad?
Her sister,
Oh God.
her niece, Michelle Maroney. This is what the article, Daily Mail said.
Is
It was
that the woman is married to that guy Michael Maroney from the 365 days?
That's the guy. His name is Michelle McKelly, however you pronounce it.
Oh, that's the guy.
Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
he's part of the posse. Selma Hayek, who I don't
No,
think really cares.
Salma.
I don't think she really cares about Blake.
Qué vergüenza, ay Dios mío, Salma, pero qué pasa? No, it can't be. Salma can't do that.
I don't think she really is. I think they just saw her at that one lunch with Blake, which I'm pretty sure Blake's PR team orchestrated. I'm
But
sure
she's
they
herself, Salma.
Well, I think Selma, I think she knows Blake's sister, and the sister was probably like, meet me for lunch. And then Blake happened to also jump in on the lunch. Surprise, I'm here. Oh, surprise, we called the paparazzi. They're here too. So I think it was more of like, I don't think it was intent. I don't think she has much of a new posse.
Salma Hayek. And who else? Who else is part of her posse? That's it? Amy
It was her-
Schumer? Isn't Amy Schumer
No.
part of her posse?
She wasn't named in the article. I mean, I guess Amy could have been, because she did speak out in
Jennifer
support of
Lawrence?
Blake Lively.
No, Jennifer Lawrence is Taylor Swift. But I mean, who's going to think they're going to take on Taylor Swift?
And win, right? I
I
don't.
mean, Taylor Swift is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And I mean,
Yeah.
the Swifties are hardcore guys. And the fact that now she's
Yeah.
being portrayed as a victim by Blake Lively trying to extort her. Did we get that correctly from Brian Friedman implied? So we're back on Tay-Tay's team, guys. For all of us who were disheartened by Tay Tay, we're back on Taylor Swift teams, because we know now that she was being extorted by this horrible witch, B-list, D-list, mattress actress, whatever the hell you want to call it. But no, so guys, Zach, please tell us. We're gonna see you guys. Write to my email because you're gonna get 2 tickets for meet and greet. They're not the cheap one, guys. And also the VIP to hang out with Zach. I will be in Toronto, Canada, with some girlfriends of mine, and it's not gonna be pretty, because probably we're gonna have a few drinks. But come and join, and you're gonna be in different cities. You're gonna let me see, because I can't read without glasses. You're gonna be in Dallas, Texas, Phoenix, Philadelphia, Toronto, Brooklyn. I love Brooklyn. Chicago, Seattle, and LA. So guys, like, go and subscribe and buy your tickets because it's gonna be a lot of fun. I see you're gonna have amazing guests, so, and you can get to ask all kinds of questions, but don't touch, no manhandling. I'll probably do it, but but I promise I won't go.
Yeah, because then that's as we learned from Blake Lively, that's harassment.
Yeah, no teeth. Always with no teeth, guys. Remember. But thank you so much for coming here, Zach. And I will please write, and as soon as I'll make them public and I'll send them to you. You have to give me your name so we can do that, and maybe the sponsor will give a few more tickets for Toronto for Annabelle's, which is a really cool place, and we'll have to see you there. And please go buy tickets for Zach. Buy part merch. I bought the Zach is my lawyer merch, so I know. I just liked it better than Justice for Justin. I don't know. I like you're my lawyer. So as soon as I have it, I'll post it. But thank you for coming. Thank you for your time. You're very much appreciated in this platform. And please go subscribe to this gorgeous looking man, because he's gorgeous. And we like good looking people. So thank you very much, Zach, and you have a wonderful day,
Thank
sweetie.
you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.